In this Map Suite MVC Edition sample app walkthrough, we're going to show you how you can use Map Suite to draw some shapes on the map, edit some shapes, and save them to an in-memory feature layer, or you can even save it to other data sources if you'd like. So to get started, let's show you how this sample works. As you can see, we've got some different tools over here, and these allow you to pick what type of shapes you want to draw. So for example, if I want to draw a rectangle or a square, an ellipse here, a polygon. Each click adds a new vertex, and then to terminate the polygon I do a double click. Do a line, some points. So that shows some of the capabilities of drawing the shapes. Now let's say I want to save these shapes, so you allow your user to draw some new shapes. We've got a save button down here, and you can see the color radically changed from the blue, showing that they were in draw mode, and now they've been persisted to some feature layer. I believe in this case it's just an in-memory feature layer, but it could be to a shape file or a SQL database or whatever data source you're choosing to save them to. And then one other neat feature here is you can edit these shapes as well. So I click the edit button here, and this is telling the map I want to edit these shapes. So now if I click on that rectangle, you can see I've got some various points here. I can drag it around. If I click the center one, I can pull out a vertex here and actually make it a polygon. And then there's a control point down here where I can actually rotate it as well. And if I click on other shapes here, you can see that it works in a very similar fashion. So as lines, you can draw out the vertexes, and with points you can drag them around and remove them and things of that. So that could be really helpful if you want in your application to allow a user to draw shapes, be able to edit them, save them, and then you can even delete shapes as well. So as I click each button, you can see the shapes disappear from the map. And then I can resave them, and they'll show up in that bright green. So let's take a look at the code to give you an idea of how you can implement this in your application. So let's start by looking at the view source here. And we've got a couple different regions that we're going to take a look at. There's the JavaScript that we'll take a look at a little bit later. Here's where we're setting up our HTML and for all of our images for the different types of drawing tools. So you can see we've got draw point, draw line, draw rectangle, draw square. And if we look on this, if we scroll over to the right a little bit, you can see we've got this map1.setDrawMode is being called. So this is a JavaScript API of Map Suite, and it allows you on the client side to set the draw mode between all the different ones that we support. So you can see here's the list of point, line, square, polygon, circle, ellipse, etc. So it's real easy to, on the client side, to switch between the different types of draw modes that you'd like to use. And then down here you can see we've got our delete buttons, our submit buttons, and our edit buttons. And these are going to call some JavaScript functions that we'll take a look at in just a second. And then down here is where we're actually setting up the map with some server-side code, adding it to the page, adding the World Map Kit overlay so we have a base map to work with. And then down here we've got our in-memory feature layer that we're setting up, and this is where we're telling it how we want these features to be displayed once they're saved. So this is just a placeholder for once we save the drawn shapes. So you can see here we're setting them in the green, and so that's why they're in that bright color that we saw earlier. And we also, you can set all these separately. We've got point, line, and area. So you could, if you wanted to, you can control the style accordingly for the different types of shapes, and then also for the different zoom levels, just like any other feature layer you would expect. And then we render the map. So let's take a look at what's happening once we save the map. So really what's happening when you draw it, it's just getting drawn on the client side, and these are held in kind of like a working storage area. And so once you've decided, oh, I'm done drawing and I want to save them, we're going to call this save map JavaScript function, and that's being executed off of the click event on the submit button or save button. And within here, we're going to get the features from the map, calling get edit features in JSON. So that's going to get all the features in JSON, so we can pass that to the server side. And we're going to do that by calling do an AJAX callback, and we're going to tell it what controller we want to use, what method we want to use, and then we're going to pass in the features, and then this is telling it that we want to execute this other stuff once we're done on the server side. So let's go take a look at the server-side code so you can see how we're actually saving them to the map. And we're going to go to the controller source here for that. And if we take a look at the save map routine here, you can see we're passing in the map in the collection of arguments. And then we're getting those features that were passed in via JSON, and we're turning them into a collection of features. And there's this map helper function that you should be aware of that will convert the JSON to features automatically, so you don't have to build them all up in your own loops. That's a handy little helper class that you can use to go back and forth from JSON to our features on the server side. And then here we're creating a layer overlay, and then we're creating an in-memory feature layer, and this is what will hold all of the features that we drew on the map. And then we're just going to loop through each of the features in the collection and add that to our layer. And then finally we're going to clear the edit overlay. This edit overlay is kind of the working storage section I was talking about, to where the drawn shapes are residing until you save them. So in this case we've saved them to an in-memory feature layer, so then we want to clear them out so they're not there twice. So once that save's executed, it will go back to the client code here, and it will again clear the editing features on the client side so it's in sync with the server. Let's set the draw mode back to normal, because in this case we've just saved them, so we want to reset the map back so it's not still in draw mode, so the user could pan and zoom in and do things instead of drawing new shapes. And then refresh the dynamic overlay, which contains our new in-memory feature layer, which is drawing those shapes in that bright green that we saw earlier. So that's how the saving is occurring. Now if you want to take a look at how the editing is occurring, that is somewhat similar but a little bit different. And if we take a look down here at the edit button, we're calling edit shape. An edit shape is calling an AJAX callback again, and we're telling it we want to go to that controller. We want to call the edit shape function this time. We don't need to pass in any parameters, because we just want to set the map mode to be in that edit mode. And then this is what we want to happen once the AJAX callback is done. So if we go back over here to the server-side controller source, you can see that on the edit shape, really all we're doing is we're adding everything back, converting them to JSON, and then clearing the internal features. So we're basically turning back off that in-memory feature layer and then adding them all back to the edit overlay. And that'll come back here to the client-side code. And you can see this is what gets called on our callback. We get those features back in JSON. We get the edit overlay on the map. We add those JSON features back on there. And then we redraw the dynamic overlay, so now the green ones go away, the blue ones are back, and we set in the draw mode to modify. And what modify does is it allows the user to click on a shape, and that will put those control points and those vertices on there so they can drag them around, resize them, twirl them, do whatever they need to do. So, and then once you hit save, all those changes would be then saved back up to the server, re-added to the in-memory feature layer, and refreshed accordingly. And then the last thing is just the delete, and you may see we have the delete shape button down here, and on that click we're just calling the cancel the last feature method, which basically deletes the last one drawn. So that's a real simple way to delete the last feature. You could also implement your own routine to delete the one that was clicked on, or do some more sophisticated stuff if you need to. I hope this sample app walkthrough has been helpful, especially if you need to add some drawing and editing capabilities to your MVC application. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions, or you can also post them directly on our discussion forums at ThinkGeo.com. www.editOverlay.com/forums, and thank you for watching.